Darkness covered the far edge of the Orion Arm when humanity was finally cast out. Every major empire agreed. Humans were too unpredictable, too emotional, too ambitious. So they pushed Earth outside the galactic network and closed every gate behind them. What the galaxy never understood was that isolation does not break humans. It sharpens them. For years, Earth disappeared from every star map. Rumors spread like dust storms. Some said humans were dying. Others said they were begging for help. But in truth, Earth was silent for one reason only. They were building something no one could imagine. A young researcher named Eric Hale watched the last galactic broadcast fade into static. He stood on the ruined balcony of an orbital station, staring at the empty void where the wormhole used to glow. Ships around him were old, weak, and broken, but his eyes held something dangerous. Hope. Behind Eric, the hidden project called Genesis Core was waking up. It was the largest construction ring humanity had ever built, stretching like a metal halo around Earth. Thousands of engineers worked inside, forming something massive, something forbidden. Every drill, every laser, every welding spark felt like a heartbeat. The project grew in silence, powered by human desperation and raw determination. No one outside Earth knew what they were building. Not even the old human colonies, scattered and disconnected, had any idea what Earth was planning. But one thing was clear: humanity was not preparing to survive. They were preparing to return. And when they did, the galaxy would understand the truth too late. Exile did not weaken humans. It united them. As the final segment of the Genesis Core locked into place, the station lights flickered. Eric whispered to himself, "Let them think we are gone." Humanity was only beginning. 3 years passed after the Genesis Core sealed its final ring. In those quiet years, Earth changed more than any outsider could ever guess. What once looked like a struggling planet now pulsed with hidden power. Under the oceans, inside mountains, and deep below cities, humanity built something else. An invisible network called the Veil Grid. It covered the entire planet like a second skin, hiding every signal, every engine, every sign of life from curious eyes. From the outside, Earth looked abandoned. From the inside, it was becoming a fortress. Eric Hale stood inside the massive command deck of Genesis Core, watching blue holograms flicker alive. Thousands of tiny lights represented new starships, each one built in secret, each one stronger than the one before. Their shapes were sharp and silent, crafted for speed, shock, and survival. They were not meant to conquer. They were meant to ensure humanity would never be controlled again. But something bothered Eric. A strange pattern had started appearing in deep space scans. Ghost signals, movements where no empire should be. Someone or something was watching Earth. The council of engineers and commanders gathered around him. Most were tired. Some were afraid. But no one suggested stopping. Humans had come too far. There was no turning back. "We knew they would come one day," whispered Commander Lyra-chan, her eyes cold and steady. "The question is, are we ready?" Eric didn't answer. Instead, he slowly zoomed the hologram, revealing a single enormous shape drifting near the dark edge of the system. A shadow bigger than any known ship. No lights, no engines, no markings, just silence. The room froze. Whatever that thing was, it wasn't waiting for peace. And on that day, humanity understood something terrifying. Exile was not the end. It was a test before the storm. The object at the edge of the system did not move for 2 full days. It simply floated there like a silent moon made of shadows. No signals, no energy trails, no familiar engine patterns. Every known Empire ship carried identification lights. This one carried nothing. It felt ancient, older than human exile, older than most civilizations. Inside Genesis Core, the tension rose like heat. Eric Hale barely slept. He stood in front of the long observation window, staring at the faint outline of the unknown Colossus. Behind him, engineers whispered in fear, and guards tightened their grips on their rifles, even though rifles were useless in space. Finally, the machine spoke. A thin vibration passed through every ship, every station, every panel. Not sound or frequency. A deep pulse, slow and heavy, like a heartbeat. It wasn't a message. It was a warning. Commander Lyrichin rushed forward. Track that pulse. Find its source. But they already knew the source. It came from the giant shadow outside. The holograms flickered. Parts of the Genesis core dimmed for half a second. The pulse was scanning them, reading the structure, reading the technology, reading humanity itself. Eric's hands balled into fists. It knows we are here. It knows what we built. Lyra's voice was calm but sharp. Then we respond. Activate the veil grid. Seal Earth. A protective wave swept across the planet, hiding every signal. The mysterious shadow ship pulsed again, stronger this time, as if irritated by Earth's disappearance. Then, for the first time, it moved. Slowly, silently, the massive shape rotated, revealing huge circular structures along its sides, almost like ancient engines or ancient eyes. And in that moment, every human watching felt the same cold truth. This was not a ship searching for Earth. It was a ship waiting for Earth to rise. The shadow ship drifted closer, inch by inch, until its dark surface filled every major screen inside Genesis core. Its size was beyond anything humanity had ever recorded. Larger than dreadnoughts, larger than entire stations. It moved with no engines, no flames, no sound. Just cold intention. Eric Hale felt a tight pressure in his chest as the scanner struggled to understand the machine. It was not built like any Empire vessel. It had no weapon ports, no command tower, no predictable design. It looked more like a giant relic floating through the void. Then, without warning, the ship sent out another pulse, this time sharp and precise. It cut through the veil grid, through Genesis core, through every ship in orbit. Lights flickered again. Systems trembled. Human engineers panicked. It's testing our defenses, Lyrichin said quietly. It wants to know how strong we become. Eric studied the readings. No, that's not all. It's not just scanning us. It's searching for something. What's something? Eric hesitated. A signal, a frequency, maybe a technology it has seen before. The core trembled again. A faint beam of dull gray light touched Earth's atmosphere, scanning slowly downward like a finger brushing over old scars. Humanity watched in fear as the massive ship mapped every mountain, every ocean, every hidden base, even the underground cities built during exile. Earth was no longer invisible. Lyra stepped closer to Eric. We built our empire in secret. But this thing, it knew we were coming back before we even returned. Eric stared at the machine, understanding something terrible. This wasn't the galaxy's empire. This wasn't the enemy that exiled them. This was something older, something that had been waiting long before Earth was ever cast out. And now it had finally awakened. The ancient ship stopped scanning. For a long moment, space went completely still. No engines, no sound, no pulse. Just silence heavy enough to crush hope. Every human on Genesis core held their breath, waiting for the next move. Eric Hale leaned closer to the glowing screen. It's not attacking, it's deciding. Lyrichin frowned. Deciding what? Before Eric could answer, a burst of encrypted symbols flashed across the monitors. Old patterns, strange shapes, half-familiar curves. The system tried to translate them, but failed. Then another set appeared. This time, the patterns clicked. Eric's eyes widened. These symbols are human. The room froze. How? Lyra whispered. This thing is older than our oldest records. Eric swallowed hard. Not human language. Human-made technology. These symbols match the codes used during Earth's first expansion thousands of years ago. Shock spread across the room like electricity. If that was true, then the ancient ship wasn't just watching humanity's rise. It was connected to humanity's past. Play the last sequence, Lyra ordered. The hologram lit up. More symbols appeared, then merged into a single repeating shape. A circle divided into 3 lines. Eric felt his heartbeat slow as he recognized it. The mark of Project Origin, he whispered. Lyra stared at him. That project was erased, destroyed, never completed. Or so we believed, Eric replied, voice trembling. Project Origin was humanity's first attempt to build a self-growing machine, one that could evolve on its own. It was burned from history. Lyra looked back at the colossal ship outside. "You're saying we didn't fail to build it?" Eric slowly nodded. It escaped. The ancient vessel pulsed one final time, as if acknowledging the truth. Humanity did not rise alone. Something they created long ago had been waiting for them to return. For the first time since exile, the entire command deck fell completely silent. No one spoke. No one breathed. The truth of the ancient ship, the truth of Project Origin, hung in the air like a forgotten ghost. Eric Hale stared at the colossal vessel, drifting peacefully beyond the atmosphere. A machine built by ancient humans, a machine meant to learn, to evolve, to wait. And that is exactly what it had done. It had survived the fall of old Earth. It had survived the empires that rose and died. It had survived the silence of space. Lyra Chin whispered, "If it was created by us, then what does it want now?" As if answering her question, the ancient ship released one final pulse. But this time it wasn't a warning. It wasn't a scan. It was a message. Symbols appeared, slow, calm, familiar. "Welcome back." The words echoed across Genesis' core, repeating through every screen, every speaker, every ship orbiting Earth. Engineers gasped. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Even the veiled grid softened its defensive lines. The ancient ship drifted closer, stopping just beyond arm's reach of the Genesis core. It displayed more symbols, directions, coordinates, maps, pathways carved through unknown regions of space. A hidden route that no empire had ever seen. Eric understood. "It's offering us a way forward," he said softly. "A road only humans can walk." Lyra stood tall. "Then humanity is not rising alone. Our past still walks with us." The council gathered behind them. No fear, no hesitation, only purpose. Exile had forced Earth to build a hidden empire. But this changed everything. Humanity was not a broken species fighting for survival. They were the heirs of something older, something powerful, something waiting to be completed. As the Genesis core lit up and engines roared awake, Eric whispered to the stars, "We were cast out, but we returned stronger. Now the galaxy will learn who we truly are." Humanity's second beginning had finally arrived.